Today we're talking about herbal medicine and the treatment of SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and this is a strong herbal ally of mine. I have a ton of experience recommending it and working with it, the doses, where I start, where I ramp it up, the different forms. I would be using it for hydrogen dominant SIBO, methane dominant SIBO, hydrogen sulfide dominant SIBO. I would be using it for SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth as well, and that is oregano. So oregano, you know it, I know it, really common herb that people use in cooking, really common in Mediterranean cooking, Italian cooking. People put it on their pizza. And everyone that I work with knows, and if you don't, now is a good time to learn, oregano is a very strong herbal antimicrobial, meaning it helps to kill bugs. We're talking about SIBO mainly here, but it's across the board: bacterial, fungal, archaeal, and parasitic. It's antimicrobial against all of them. So if we're talking about the different active constituents in oregano leaf, the essential oil, it's the strongest of the antimicrobial constituents. And right here we have two major players. We have cavacrol, which you can see some of the products available, the essential oil products, they have them standardized to a percentage of cavacrol, meaning it's very strong on that antimicrobial front. Oregano leaf, depends on where it's grown. It would have different amounts of cavacrol in it, depends on how it was grown. And the second really big essential oil, they're both terpenes, would be an essential oil terpene called thymol as well. So if we're moving away from the essential oils in oregano leaf, you know, those constituents that we use to kill bugs, super helpful, gotta use it, gotta kind of bring them down and remodulate that small bowel. But the non-essential oil constituents, they're mainly polyphenols. So we've got things like luteolin and apigenin, and these have both been shown to help stabilize mast cells. So if there's any evidence of histamine intolerance or the immune system kind of gone a little bit wonky and liberating all these histamines, stuffy nose, headaches, or lymph nodes, you can learn more about those symptoms right here. Then that's where we would be using more of that oregano leaf to cover all those bases. The other really big one would be rosmarinic acid, which is shown to be a pretty potent NRF2 upregulator. Now that's going too deep for this video. We're going to save that for a future video. I love talking about the different NRF2 upregulations, you know, training your body to upregulate a lot of those endogenous antioxidant kind of pathways. You know, we're all using all these antioxidants, vitamin C and glutathione and vitamin E. We're kind of consuming them like crazy. If we could just get our body, you know, trained and tuned to kind of do that on its own, things like rosmarinic acid and NRF2 upregulators can be really helpful there. So how does oregano leaf work as an antimicrobial? Let's dig into the details now, and then we're going to round it out with how I would be working with oregano leaf and oil, where I would kind of, you know, switch from one to the other, what doses I would start with, and what doses I would ramp it up to if we needed to. So when we're looking at these studies, we're looking at either oregano leaf or oregano oil. Remember, the oil is the much stronger antimicrobial, and we can see, number one, that it's been shown to inhibit the production or the activity of bacterial enzymes. Number two, it can inhibit bacterial efflux pumps, the ability for bacteria to kind of offload these kind of antimicrobials. And these efflux pumps are a really important piece on why antibiotics don't work so well on certain bacteria. They have ability to kind of like bail the boat and get those antibiotics out of the system. They can disrupt biofilms. And so oregano oil in specific, it's been shown to disrupt and prevent the formation of biofilms. That is huge, huge, huge. Again, another reason why antibiotics don't work so well well on certain bacterial overgrowths and infections. Number 4, we can see that oregano leaf and oregano oil can disrupt bacterial cell membranes. And if we think about bacteria and we think about their little cells, anything that's going to be disrupting these cell membranes is going to lead to a pretty potent and successful antimicrobial approach. So as I mentioned, I'm thinking about oregano in hydrogen dominant, methane dominant, hydrogen sulfide dominant, SIBO, candida, mold. It's potent antimicrobial. The studies never really end on the different kind of bacterial overgrowths. Remember, we're talking about SIBO, mainly hydrogen dominant SIBO, methane for sure, hydrogen sulfide for sure. We've got the pathogenic E. coli, Klebsiella, Citrobacter, Enterobacter, Staphylococcus, Pseudomonas, Methanobrevibacter smithii, that's the methane producing archaea, and candida as well. We've got loads of studies showing that oregano can target these bugs effectively. So how do I work with oregano in the clinic? That's a really important question, and it really depends on the patient sitting in front of me. What's their vitality, what are their lab values, what's their symptoms, what's their tolerance, what have they done? I mean, if they've done a bunch of oregano oil, we're not going to be recommending that up front. They've already trialed it. And also, what are their sensitivities? Can they tolerate a really strong herbal antimicrobial protocol? Now, most patients will get a herbal tincture, custom formulated, where we're choosing specific herbs and mixing them in a herbal tincture to treat your individual presentation. And here, when we're talking about SIBO and oregano leaf, I like starting a lot of patients off with this very specific oregano leaf tincture. And again, we make most of our herbs in clinic, but not this one. This one's made by PPC here in Australia, and it is fresh oregano leaf. We have access to dried oregano leaf. I like dried oregano leaf. I use dried oregano leaf. It works really well, but when we want strong herbal antimicrobials, the fresh leaf that's been preserved in this tincture, very strong place to start. Very effective. It still has those other polyphenols, so it's not just oregano oil, but if you smell it and if you taste it, it tastes like you're drinking straight oregano oil. It's that strong. It's potent. So I would start most patients off with about 120 ml of this 1 in 2 per month. This is about a month's worth, a little bit longer, and I would be dosing at 7.5 ml twice a day for most patients. Again, they're gonna have a whole bunch of other herbs working for them at the same time in synergy. That's the beauty of custom herbal medicines. That's why it's so hard to treat international patients, because this is heavy. I ship in glass. It weighs, up to a kilo when we're shipping it, and it would cost more than this is worth to get it to somewhere like Northern Europe or Africa or wherever people need it. It's the strongest reason why I don't treat international patients. It's too hard to get them the medicine. So we'll start them off there with most patients, and if they've worked with tinctures before and we're not getting good results, or we're trying to bring it in and we're not getting that momentum, I might pivot over to an encapsulated antimicrobial. I like to start with combos. Every brand has their herbal antimicrobial. There's too many to list, but I would be looking at a dose of oregano oil of between 100 and 200, maybe even up to 300 milligrams per day. That would be in divided doses. Take that with food to start with, because it's very strong. And again, we'd be running with that for a month or two to see if we could get significant improvements. Now, when things aren't going according to plan, when we're not getting that momentum, or if it's a really serious presentation, symptoms are 10 out of 10, or they have a strong pathogen on a stool test, or their methane levels are through the roof, I will be recommending oregano oil on its own as kind of a standalone product, with all the other things going on as well. And my favorite here in Australia would be Designs for Health oregano oil, and that's because it's very strong. Per capsule, it's 150 milligrams of oregano oil, and also because it's emulsified in some olive oil so that when it dissolves in the digestive tract, it helps to kind of spread that oregano oil out, coat the digestive tract lining, and it gets a much better kind of spread of antimicrobial actions. I see too many patients come to me, they say, look, I've done oregano oil, I did drop dose in water and I drank it, or I kind of just dropped it in my tongue. It's not going to get where it needs to go. You're not going to get sufficient oregano oil to the small bowel to treat SIBO if you take it like that. The tincture, on the other hand, you're taking a good chunk, 7.5 mil, so it's got a chance to spread out and coat that digestive tract, and you'll get that good coverage of antimicrobial action on the gut. So with the dose right here, if we needed to, and again, I don't generally start there. If I do, there's a reason, but starting there is like bringing a sledgehammer when something like a roofing hammer might do it. It's not always indicated or helpful. That's thinking like herbs are antibiotics, and antibiotics I don't see great value in SIBO treatment. Again, we can talk about that in a future video. But with this dosing, I would be working with something like 1 to 2 capsules a day with food. And if we needed to ramp it up, I would do 2 capsules and 2 capsules with food. And that would be all the way up to 600 milligrams of oregano oil. And that would be a whopping dose. And that is not something that I am comfortable with patients being on longer than about 4 weeks. 6 weeks if we're really seeing that improvement, but it's not quite resolved. And definitely hard line in the sand at 8 weeks tops at that dose. So I hope that was helpful. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Anything that I missed, any comments, any experience that you have with oregano leaf or oregano oil. And if you are living in Australia or New Zealand, you're looking for support with your digestive health, then reach out to us here at the clinic. There will be a link in the description below.